Are you listening? Damn.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Sunny here, bringing you live from an undisclosed place in the UK. Hey, we're here. We're moving from Thursday to Friday. Hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I would say right now, I'm grateful for life, grateful for the show, grateful for everybody that is here. I'm gonna start with saying hi to my guy Ace. That he has the smile there. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, man, I'm just trying to steer clear of the Ravens locker room right now. I don't know if Sonny's going to pass me something or not. You know, the Ravens right now are going through it. I'm doing good, though, bro. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
How you doing, Q?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. You know, the Browns, they're going through it a little bit too here, but you know, you're saying it's publicized. But you know, it's been a weird week. It has been a weird week in football, most definitely.
Shout out to my boy Joe Nuvo. RG3 better than Large Benjamin. Thank you, brother, for the donation. And Tony, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. You know, this whole Ravens thing is crazy. The strength and conditioning coach, doesn't, he has COVID, doesn't tell anyone that he has it. So it's spread throughout the entire team. The one player we know will not have it, Hollywood Brown. He's good. He's not hitting the gym.
He could. It's just it won't matter. He's not going to touch the ball on the field. Nobody don't dap him up. He's not going to get open. You know what I mean? It's the benefit of being Hollywood Brown. You can't even catch this.
Pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Anyway, let's get started with one of the least intriguing matchup. But hey, in the AFC, we're going to discuss every single team. Bengals, Giants, and I'm going to throw it to you first, Ace. What are you expecting as a Bengals fan? Obviously, you don't have Joe Burrow, but what do you want to see as a Bengals fan right now as the season week 12? What do you want to see moving forward?
I mean, what I want to see is losses so that we can secure Penny as our left tackle or right tackle, honestly. I'm just going to be real. But honestly, I think that the Bengals made the right move if Zach Taylor is trying to save his job, which obviously I don't want that to happen either. But it makes sense for him trying to start Brandon Allen in this game because there's no way Ryan Finley was going to do anything. I mean, I've talked about it before. Me and Tony have joked about it. I didn't want to watch Ryan Finley for however many games that we have left. So I think that this is a move for them to try to win. There's been some controversy coming out here lately. Literally before we started the show, someone said that Giovanni Bernard was out with the concussion. Then it was like they retracted it right before that and said that he's still questionable. I'm assuming that he's going to be out. If he is out, I think it's going to be cool because some Bengals fans want to see Trevion Williams. He was a guy that we drafted about 2 or 3 years ago. We haven't gotten to see him outside of being in games where there's been blowouts, and he's looked pretty good. So I think from that standpoint, this actually is going to be more competitive than I once thought, which somewhat worries me because Brandon Allen is a more than capable backup, and that somewhat scares me. With Ryan Finley, I knew we were losing this game. With Brandon Allen, it's hard to say because this team does have weapons. If he is able to make some moves, if he is able to escape some pressure, obviously he's going to get pressured a lot in this game. He may be able to actually make this competitive. So I honestly can't call it right now. I'm going to lean with the Giants because that's what I hope happens. But the Bengals could be in this game. It could be competitive if Brandon Allen comes up here and is competitive. So I'm not looking forward to that. I honestly, you guys know how I feel. I want the coach gone. I want the stud tackle in the draft. So even though I'm a fan and I would never want my team to lose per se, I'm looking at the bigger picture here, and I want this team to be better. And I think that this team is better without Zach Taylor and with Penny in the draft.
Do you think though that the Burrow thing like buys him time for a year? I mean, it doesn't feel like, I know that reports are out now about Zach Taylor and the locker room and whatnot.
Right.
But you feel like the Burrow thing might actually save him time or save his job?
It's hard to say. Like the Bengals, they don't handle things like a typical organization would. I think if Burrow was still here, I think you've seen enough from Zach Taylor in year 2 to know that this staff is not it. For all of the stuff that came out in that article that Tony is referring to, that I've talked about for a while now, I think lets you know that this staff isn't it. Whether Burrow likes the guy or not, the fact that other players in the organization, even coaches were in that article as well that were unnamed. And I personally know a coach that said that Zach Taylor doesn't know how to run a practice. I tried to throw that all on Quincy without wanting to throw that coach under the bus. Quincy did say that, but I'm just letting you know, because some people question that too. Like, oh, how can just a fan understand that? There's a coach on the staff that has said the same thing. That said that Zach was the most unprepared coach that he's ever seen in his life. Yeah. So no, I think the Burrow thing isn't going to buy him time if they actually do this research in and actually listen to these guys and know that this guy just isn't it. I don't think it should, but this is the Bengals. So nothing is out of the realm of possibility.
How does the GM and the coach, you know how that relationship, because that will be the ultimate, well, the owner too, but the GM.
We don't have a GM. We have a president of player operations who is our GM in that case, Duke Tobin. And Duke Tobin was the one, and I've heard this from multiple sources, also the same lady that wrote this article backed this up too. It wasn't Mike Brown that made the choice of Zach Taylor. It was Duke Tobin that sold him and pushed hard for this guy to get there. And I had even heard things such as, that hasn't been reported yet, I've heard things that were like the Bengals called the LA Rams, and the LA Rams, when they were like, you want to talk to who? Zach Taylor. You guys want to talk to him? Like, that's what the vibe really was. They also called and talked to Andrew Whitworth. And Andrew Whitworth was just like, I'm not just going to throw Zach under the bus. So I just gave him a good recommendation. So, for me, I think the GM should also be at fault as well. I've been very critical of Duke Tobin as well because, before Zach Taylor got here, we've had a bad offensive line since 2016. He was the one making those decisions. I think Duke needs to be held accountable as well. Will he be? I don't know. He's been there since 2000, so it's hard to say.
Okay, so Q, what do you think about this game, man?
What's there to think about? It's the Bengals versus the Giants.
5-star matchup.
Yeah, it's literally Brandon Allen going against the most turnover-prone quarterback in NFL history in Daniel Jones. Now, he's a guy who can move the ball here and there. Will the Bengals be able to capitalize on turnovers? I don't know. At this point, when you got two teams that have 2 to 3 wins, breaking it down from a football standpoint kind of seems silly. So I'm just going to have fun with this one and say who needs this win the most? Because the team that needs this win the most is definitely going to lose this game because that's generally how these things go. And the team that does not want to win will accidentally win this game. So I'm going to go with the Bengals here to win this one completely by accident. I'm talking about Fat Randy accidentally kicking the ball in on a chip shot. Like
when they need to accidentally pull a hammy, that's when he puts it through.
And I think Zach Taylor's going to get like 2 wins here on the back end, which is going to be enough for Mike Brown to be like, Marvin had 4 wins his first year. He didn't really get it'd be some stupid explanation and Bengal fans would go with it. Like, Marvin didn't have this many wins when he started. And y'all going to keep Zach Taylor acting like he's Marvin. He's not Marvin.
Marvin did have 8 wins, though. Marvin did have 8 wins his first year.
Well, it's the whole virus situation and, his offensive line, he didn't have – they don't have all the excuses in the world. Look, y'all in full Browns territory right now. I'm sorry, Bengals. Definitely.
No,
y'all are in Cleveland Browns territory. Y'all got the stuff we had going on in 2016, 2017 going on. I'm just telling y'all how this goes. Y'all going to make every excuse in the world on why your coach don't need to be fired because y'all the one that decided to hire Zach Taylor when nobody else did, and now you got to be right. It's why the Giants won't give up on Daniel Jones because they drafted him when nobody else would, so they got to be right. So Mike Brown, he's going to stick to his guns. The more he revolt, the more he's going to double down. He's going to give Zach Taylor a contract extension. This is just, I feel bad for Bengals fans. Y'all don't deserve this, but y'all heading towards that Bill O'Brien, Deshaun Watson territory where you might see the great youthful prime of somebody in their rookie deal just get completely wasted. And it's unfair. Y'all don't deserve that.
Let me say here a couple of things. I forgot to mention super chats are available. So if you want your question answered, please provide it in the super chat. We appreciate the support. Also, I think Quincy is going on your same example. Daniel Jones, I think, at least is the second year. Think about the Bears and Trubisky still holding some faith in.
Well, they
Well,
kind
at
of
least
gave
they
up on
went
him,
with
right?
like Nick
Yeah,
Foles.
they
Like
went Nick
they
Foles,
just try
yeah.
to do something.
Oh, because Matt
Like,
Nagy said, like, I need to save my job. I can't just keep going with this dude.
Right.
yeah, it became obvious, but it's just like with the Bengals. I think this is worse than the Bears keeping on with Mitchell Trubisky. Like Zach Taylor is clearly not the guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like there are things that a head coach has to be able to do. And once the head coach comes in the room and gets a reputation for being incompetent, that's not something you can come back from. Like that's not something you can recover from.
Well, unless you flip the whole roster.
Even then, you're still going to have people who treat this man like he's incompetent. The media will always treat this man as if he's incompetent. People will talk about them when you draft these rookies as if he's incompetent. Like you have a whole incompetence problem. You need to hire somebody who's competent. Even if Zach Taylor could develop into somebody who's competent, it ain't going to happen in Cincinnati because the environment's not there for him. It's the same thing with Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson could have been a decent head coach somewhere, maybe. I don't know. But it wasn't going to be in Cleveland because he went 1-31. Once you become the loser, you can't be the same place you become the loser. Look at any team that's ever tanked. The coach that tanked can't be the coach that wins. It's always a different coach and GM because that's just what it is. When you stink. And look, I might not be an expert on a lot of things. I'm not a genius on a lot of things, but I am an expert in losing team culture. I spent 15 years studying this. I got my doctorate. I've been a Cleveland Browns fan for how long? I've watched 0-16, Deshaun Kaiser, Johnny Football. I have seen it all. I can write a dissertation right now, and this is what terrible football looks like. This is what a dysfunctional franchise looks like. And I'm just letting y'all know, brace yourself now because I don't think it's getting better. To brace yourself for that disappointment on draft day when you do draft. What's his name? The wide receiver out of LSU.
Jamar Chase. Oh, God.
Yeah, we all get Jamar Chase.
He's a nice receiver.
He's not bad.
The problem is nobody will be able to block him.
The problem is we need
Ace gonna be like, can he play tackle? Like,
can you put up $150 in pounds and just block the blind side? Anyway, Tony, what do you think about this game?
Well, obviously, Zach Taylor made one right decision in this, and that he is starting Brandon Allen over Ryan Finley. We've seen Ryan Finley. We know not an NFL quarterback. We've seen Brandon Allen in the past. I think he started for the Broncos and Jaguars in the past. He's probably also not an NFL quarterback. He's not an NFL arm. He's a big arm guy. So it's a better decision than starting Ryan Finley for no reason. Although I will say this about Zach Taylor, reading that SI article, and everyone should read it. It's written by, I'm going to forget the woman's name, but
I think Elise.
Elise Jesse. Yeah. That article is fantastic. It goes into all the problems in that locker room, spawning from kind of the Carlos Dunlap situation, and then obviously to where we are today. And what's clear from that story, and I've been talking about this all year, is look, the Bengals have been in these games, right? We can criticize Zach Taylor for losing these games late and all that, but let's give him some credit for the fact that the Bengals are not a team that just laid down this year, even with a rookie quarterback and no training camp and everything we've talked about in the past. But it's become clear that is not a Zach Taylor situation so much as this team rallying around Joe Burrow and how much of a leader Joe Burrow was in that locker room, how much guys respected him, his play. And so the loss of him immediately is what, and it's no wonder that as soon as he gets hurt, as soon as he leaves that locker room, that's when everyone feels comfortable. Okay, now we can start spilling the beans on Zach Taylor because this thing is over and done with. But I do think, look, for Bengals fans, they should read into that Joe Burrow actually, has it as far as the kind of leadership that you want from a quarterback in a locker room to lead a football team that he has. If he can recover from that knee, and they can get a competent coaching staff around him, and obviously an offensive line would be nice as well. But if they can get those things, I think Joe Burrow certainly, we knew this, he was going to be the future of this organization, but this even speaks higher to him and his presence in that locker room. As far as this football game, can they win this game? It's hard for, like you guys, it's hard for me to imagine that they do because they, like Quincy said, they want to lose, and the Giants are, still at 3-7. They're in this thing. In fact, the Giants are red hot right now. They're 2-0 in their last two games. Yeah, the Giants are red hot. Now, the Giants also haven't won outside of their division. So if the Giants do beat the Bengals, it'll be the first time the Giants actually won a football game outside of the NFC East. Another fun fact about the Giants, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I was looking up who even is their running back now because they've gone through Alfred Morris and they had Devonta Freeman for a little while. Their leading rusher right now is Daniel Jones. So Daniel Jones pulling double duty there in New York. Quarterback, he's played quarterback and running back for them. Great job there, Daniel Jones. I just cannot imagine the Bengals losing this game, even though it's in Cincinnati. They have the home field advantage if there even is such a thing. in 2020. The Giants need this game for the division. The Bengals don't need this game whatsoever. I'm going to pick the Giants, but like Quincy said, strange things have been happening all year, and I could, the Bengals could certainly win this game, but I can't imagine it.
Yeah, by the way, real quick,
you will see this game. The Giants are gonna fumble a kneel down. The Bengals are gonna recover and bring it down.
Herm Edwards play? The Herm Edwards play?
Yeah, just like that. Kneel down fumble. And then look, the Giants right now, if they win their first, because 2 out of the 3 wins are against the team, right? The Washington football team. The Washington football team are first place.
According to Tony's logic, they are surging hot right now.
Yeah, red hot.
They are red hot.
They're basically there. The Steelers and then the Giants. Steelers, Giants. You know what I mean? They're just like right there.
2 blowout wins in a row.
They have played competitive football even in their losses. Give them credit. They
lost by 1 and 2. Yeah.
They beat the Eagles and they lost by 3. They won by 3 also against the football team. They lost by 2 against the Buccaneers. They lost by 1 to the Eagles. So they've been playing close game, competitive matchup. And Buccaneers are better. They have been the best matchup so far that they had. But look, let's be honest. This game is between 2 bad teams. The Giants are usually a team that hangs around and then finds a way to lose. That's been their MO this year. And that's what the Bengals were doing earlier this year when they actually have Burrow. Without Burrow, with even a worse O-line, you would think that they're going to lose. But like Quincy said, man, who knows? Who knows? I will say this. I will go with the Giants because if the Giants win their first play, believe it or not. So I think they need it most. You would think they want to play harder for this game. That will hurt Ace if they win, but sorry, Ace. I'll go with the Giants. Anyway, let's go with the other matchup here. We're going to get the Jaguars and the Browns. Another marquee matchup in the AFC North. Q, what do you think about this matchup, man?
See, look, the Browns fan in me sees 8-3 on the horizon and goes, no way it's going to be that easy. No way that it's going to be this easy. There has to be a caveat. And yeah, we've had all the tests pop up. We knew Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward weren't going to play. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's going to be more difficult. So I look into this situation. I look into the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm like, well, maybe they're a little bit of a better matchup than Philly was, even though Philly I felt like was a decent matchup against Cleveland. I look at this Jaguars team. I see, it's not really a good matchup for Jacksonville at all. I mean, like, you look at on the offensive side of the ball for Jacksonville, right? The one thing the Browns are weak at is defending the pass deep, right? You could attack our safeties. Don't know what you guys know of Mike Glennon. Not his forte, right? Not the guy who's going to do that. Also, feel like a quarterback who can't run around as much might help the Browns out when it comes to a pass rush. So that's also a thing there. I would have been more scared about Gardner Minshew or even Jake Luton because they're more mobile, and that causes more problems with this Browns defense. You look at their run game. The run game is good. They have a good run game, and look, they can attack the Browns. The Browns have been up and down on that, but the Browns have been up and down. So it's not like they're bad. They've just been inconsistent. So there's no reason to believe that they're going to be bad against a Jacksonville team that's not necessarily equipped to take advantage of these things. The Raiders did it, but the Raiders are 7-3. This is a 2-win team here we're talking about. Oh, 1-win team, my bad. And then you look on the other side of the ball, and if you thought what I described there for Jacksonville's offense was bad, the defense, it's a worse deal for the Jacksonville Jaguars defense this week because they have a poor defensive line. Now, let me tell you the secret to stopping the Browns' offensive running game. If you need to stop the Browns' run game, you need to have a very good defensive line. Those are the teams that can stop the run against the Browns. If you can get penetration, it doesn't matter if you're a good run-stopping team or whatever. It matters if you're a defensive line that can get penetration. Those teams, they do well against the Browns' run game. You look at the teams that done well against it. Philly in the first half of that game, great pass rush. They were able to penetrate. Obviously, Pittsburgh. Baltimore at the beginning of the season when they were healthy did a decent job against the Browns run game. These are the things that can do well. You looked on the PFF grades and the run grades for the entire Jaguars defensive line. Nobody has a grade over 55. That's not good. That's not necessarily great. So I think the Browns are going to be able to run the ball. Yeah, they have good run-stopping linebackers, but one of those linebackers is Joe Schobert. Joe Schobert is a streaky tackler. He'll have games where he's a good tackler. He'll have games where he's a god-awful tackler. against Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, you know, I don't know what that bet's going to be, but I feel like they've broken those tackles before in practice. And then you look at the secondary, and again, they have a decent safety. I'm forgetting his name, but they're again one-sided. Miles Jack and the safety only play on one side. The other side is atrocious for this team. So, in a team that can do play action, flip the play to either side very easily, that's not a good fit for Jacksonville. The Browns are probably going to be able to get the play action boot stuff. You know, look, the Browns fan in me wants me to think this has to be more difficult. This has to be more like Philly, where there's some things that can pop up here that are going to disrupt the Browns. I should be more nervous about this, because when has 8-3 ever been easy when it's been going 500 ever been easy for the Cleveland Browns? But, you know, or at least guarantee that the last thing you're going to do is go 500, right? If they win this game. But like, I just can't find a compelling reason to be afraid. Their offense, you know, they might be able to move the ball a little bit. I don't think they're going to be able to score once the field gets condensed, even with all the injuries the Browns have. Like, I think Sheldon Richardson's going to be able to get a pass rush, like, you know, at the edge position, is much like when they played Miami last year and they still were able to get successful pass rush against a weaker team. You know, DJ Shark's not playing, so it's not like, you know, Denzel Ward missing going to really hurt you. You're already getting one of their number one option. And on the other side of the ball, the Browns don't really have that many injuries there that weren't the same coming into it. You know, Odell's not playing, but obviously, you know, everybody else, they're up. They're ready to go as far as we know, knock on wood. So, you know, barring like the running back room and Baker getting this thing before Sunday, like I really don't want to come into this being arrogant, because it always backfires. But like, I can't find a good reason to feel like this is going to be a compelling matchup from a football standpoint. And, you know, I don't see it. Like, if you guys see it,
you should.
I don't see it. I really don't. This is much like how I didn't see it with the Washington football team game. Only way you can tell me you could see it if you go with like the cliche takes where like, oh, it's going to be a trap game. They're looking forward to Tennessee and all that. But
There's
like,
a trap game here.
It's a trap
yeah,
game.
But like,
sure,
you know,
but
if there's
like,
any team in the NFL that does the whole like road game trap team, you know, we know a little something about that, and we blew them out last week. So the Jaguars are trash. No one's beating this team by any less than 10.
It reminds me much like last year where the Browns played the Steelers. Myles Garrett did the thing, got half the defense suspended, and then they played the Miami Dolphins after that, and then they played the Steelers after that. So that was a trap game situation, right? Oh my God, you have this great rematch with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who you just went into a bloodbath with a literal brawl at the end of the game right after this game. So that's a trap game for the Browns. And even with Freddie Kitchens, they didn't fall for that trap. Like, they won by 20. It was a home game. This is a road game, so it might be a little different. But like, you know, unless Baker, this is what has to happen for the Jaguars to win. I've tried to think this out. Baker has to throw like 4 or 5 interceptions, and Matt Glennon might have to have the best game of his career. Do I think those two things are likely? No. You know, Baker might throw 2 interceptions, but like 5, like, yo, come on, like, I hope he's done with those kind of things. But I don't see it. Like, Ace, I would love to hear your argument on why I should see this, but I have racked my brain on why I should be nervous about it. But I can't find any nerves.
I'm gonna say this. I think that you should be as humble as Kanye West at the Grammys with Taylor Swift on the stage. Quincy, you are being way too nice to the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. I don't care if Kyle Laletta was starting for the Browns. You guys were gonna beat the brakes off of this team. Johnny Manziel could be done sipping a brew from yesterday, hop off the couch, sign with the Cleveland Browns, and beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars are complete garbage. Mike Glennon, I know a lot about Mike Glennon, being a guy that's lived in Florida. I've seen him on the Bucks and all of that. Browns are winning this game. This is a lock. I would bet my entire mortgage on the Browns right now on this game. Ooh. Straight up, money line.
Yeah, I should feel more confident after hearing that, but that's just like, that's the kind of stuff that happens, man. Like,
you got nothing to worry about.
Found their running game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're talking about the team that runs better than pretty much anybody in football in the Browns. To be honest, this is a game that Baker could just sit down the sideline and say, like, you know, just let's keep it running, because there's nothing there. The running defense for the Jacksonville Jaguars is very soft. I mean,
There's no football reason.
break it.
No, I mean there is one football. You could imagine again. Okay, if we're gonna lay out the case for how it happens, right? We're gonna go OJ Simpson style. If it happened, here's how it happened. Okay, yeah, exactly. If the Jaguars did it, here's how they did it. The Browns are gonna be very ball control. Obviously, they're gonna ground and pound them. If they don't score touchdowns, though, if they're keeping long drives, extended drives, but not scoring touchdowns. You keep it a low-scoring game, similar to if you imagine what happened against Houston. And I mean, not say that's exactly what happened against Houston, but that game was low-scoring. And you keep a team like that in it at the end. Mike Glennon, as a Steeler fan, I will say, Mike Glennon can upset some teams, and sometimes he maybe did it one time to the Steelers back in I don't remember what year it was. I've tried to erase that from my memory, but that's how it could happen. Is you score field goals instead of touchdowns. You keep a team in the game, even though you are dominating offensively, and then some weird thing happens at the end and you lose like that. That's really the only way.
I don't see it. Because going into this, also I know the Browns had trouble last week, but they are one of the better red zone offenses in football. Right. And it's not like the Jacksonville Jaguars are a force in the red zone. They're not terrible, but they're not a force. Look, I have tried to not look forward to this game, but every time I've looked at the stats, looked at the PFR
they don't have
pages,
Chark though. They don't have Chark though.
They have no one. No Conley, no Chark.
I have every time I look at the PFR charts and I try to look for an interesting stat, I find 3 for the Titans. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting to talk about for next week. I'm like, I gotta worry about this week. It's maybe that factors in, but this is a tough one.
It's not a tough one.
It is not a tough one.
It is not a tough one.
It's not Quincy, we beat them. We handedly beat them.
And more likely the Browns win this game by 30 than it is that they lose.
Look, let's be honest. The Jacksonville Jaguars stumble upon a win in week 1. And
they're not trying to win. That's the other thing. They're tanking. They're not trying to win.
Right now, the ownership for the Jaguars, how the F did we win week 1? We could have.
I watched 16 though. I'm not going to sit here and just be the NFL's just going to give us 8-3. That's not something the NFL does.
I like this thought. Yeah.
I can't. I'm not at that point yet where I'm the Browns are good. They're going to win this one. But it's logically, that's what this should be. I'm just we're going to really they going to let us get it. This is pretty much yeah, I guess so. But it's just so weird. This 2020 is such a weird year. I'm nervous, but not for football reasons. Not for any football reasons.
Okay.
I'm not ready to be that arrogant.
So let's talk about the marquee matchup of the AFC North.
Is there one this week? Are we sure it's actually going to happen this week? Or is it going to be a week?
It's going to be next week. Now officially on Tuesday. But let me start with a small rant, and then if people want to join, that's fine. I just wanted to say shout out to all those Steelers players that were, I'm going to say it, before we're getting demonetized, bitching about this shit. When players of the Baltimore Ravens were getting every week or every day a new positive test. I wonder, playing Thursday with these players that had COVID, has just not had a positive test, how would the Steelers feel? I'm not even talking about the fan base. Fans are fans. Fans will just say whatever stupid thing. They're fans. I'm talking about the players. You know what can ruin the Steelers season? Big Ben getting COVID. Or another player, the O-line getting COVID, right?
Big Ben's in that high-risk category, too.
Yeah.
O-line already.
Here we go.
But my point is, you really wanted to risk that? I mean, I was seeing all these players, again, I'm like, Juju.
Right, but Sonny, at the time.
Wait,
okay, all right, go ahead.
I love Juju's
quote.
I love Juju's quote. Juju was like, they took my prime time. They took my prime time. And I'm like, God, they moved the game from Thursday to Sunday back then. That's when he put that quote. I'm like,
it's like, Juju, you weren't going to get more than 30 yards anyway, dog. I don't know what's going to happen. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Come on, Chase Claypool taking all your touches right now. That's what's happening.
I was just surprised about the players.
Deontay's taking his touches.
I was surprised.
Somebody taking his
players complaining. And we're going to talk about the game a little bit later. I'm going to give the floor here. But I don't know about you guys. I was floored when all these players were complaining. When every day there was a couple of Ravens they were getting like Lamar got positive today.
Yeah, but this was before Lamar tested positive. Here's why fans.
No. But that's literally my point. That is my point.
Yeah, but we didn't know that. Again, no Steeler fan, no Steeler player knew that the Ravens were a completely, they just threw the protocols out the window and said, "Hey, everybody, don't wear your mask. Don't wear your tracking device. It's all good here, right?" Like nobody knew that at the time.
Shirts are about to come off, people.
Yeah. But what we did know, like, okay, you can look. Did the Steeler players overreact? Of course they overreacted. Yes, they were too animated about it, But there was a legitimate question at the time. I asked it. A lot of legitimate. You can go on Pro Football Talk. I believe USA Today wrote an article about it. A lot of people were writing about, hey, why are we delaying this game now? When after the Titans delay, the NFL put out new mandates about COVID, and they said, hey, you're gonna start forfeiting games if this happens. And they told the Niners a couple weeks back, even though they had 4 positive tests and all wide receivers, they said, no, you play on Thursday. We're not moving the game. You play with practice squad players if you have to play.
Sure.
Now, why? So Steelers were thinking, hey, if that's the new precedent, then why are we moving this game? Now, the NFL clearly at the time knew that, hey, we got a coach who didn't wear his tracking device, so we got a whole different situation here. But the Steelers didn't know that. The players didn't know that. So the fact that they're mad about it, I understand that. Now, did they overreact? Yes. I mean, they went over the top about it. But let's not kill the players here. When the NFL set a precedent like 3 weeks earlier that we are not moving games anymore, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like, oh yeah, we're moving the Steelers Ravens.
But that's after back-to-back of days of different players getting test positive. I follow the insiders of the Ravens, and they said before the storm of tweets from the players, before it got delayed, the insiders for the Ravens were like, oh, and there's expecting more positive tests to come, right? And then a couple of hours later, the game gets moved, and you see all the Steelers player, oh my God, we have to play Sunday instead of Thursday. I'm like, dude, come on. Your players hate Thursday.
There was an open question at the time as to why. And you're right. The NFL doctor came out afterwards and said, hey, we think the Ravens are like 2 days away from like ending their positive cases, and we can set a date for this thing. And obviously, they were wrong about that because, it didn't end in 2 days. Here we are on Friday, and they're still testing positive.
I feel like 50 Cent just instigate. I do have something quick to say about this. One, anybody surprised that people of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization love to complain and cry like things are being super unfair against the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the league's most protected franchises? Who is surprised? The Pittsburgh Steelers, New England Patriots, 2 franchises and fan bases that love to be like, hey, they're all against us with like their top 5 in the league and first downs awarded by penalties. Like this is just the normal, stuff. Okay. Yeah, no, it's not a conspiracy. That's true. They are top 5 in the league.
Are you saying like, is it a conspiracy to help the Steelers? Like, I don't understand what we're going at here.
No. So here's what I'm saying. One, the player outburst. Yeah, we touched on it. That was ridiculous. One, because like what that happened on Wednesday. That the players was that Wednesday or Tuesday?
Wednesday, I think. Wednesday.
All the days run together for me now, but I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
So here's the logic that I don't understand from the players. You just watched 3 players get tested, get announced that they're going to be positive. They're moving this game from Thursday. That was the day before the game. Dog, you have to know that there's no way you could play the game at that point because there's going to be somebody on the field who has it if it's like that. Also, the report about the coach not wearing a mask, that was out before Juju was sending tweets crying about it. Now, look, I don't. Sometimes I like Juju. Sometimes I don't like how Juju be carrying himself. Juju sometimes likes to do a little bit too much. This is one of those times where he likes to do a little bit too much. But I'm not going to kill him for doing it, even though he sounded like a little kid. Oh, get my Thanksgiving game. You're taking it away from me. You don't get to play. My mama don't get to see me play on national TV. Shut up, Juju. Nobody cares. Also to Steeler fans, crying about how the NFL is trying to ruin your perfect season by allowing you to play RG3 in the Ravens. What? At this point, what? Also, Steeler fans, please act like you know your team's undefeated. Please act like you know your team's good. Please stop acting like you need forfeited games to be undefeated. Why would you, if you're going for an undefeated season, want a huge asterisk on it, like having a forfeited game that people like me are going to use to delegitimize the accomplishment? Why would you want that? I don't understand it. And then you out here saying, Juju also said he did not have a bye week. Sir, you had a bye week. It was just early in the season. Like, now you get extra rest. Y'all really ain't had to practice. What you telling me? Y'all practice for RG3? I mean, I know y'all lost to RG3 before at full strength, but you telling me this is going to be the same level of competition that you were when you were defending Lamar Jackson versus a dude who runs like a 4.58? Like it's not the same.
Yeah.
Like so, it's just with the Steelers, they love to complain. The fan base. Let's
get the facts straight though, because Juju's. I just looked it up. Juju's tweet was 6 hours before the Ravens announced they were punishing the coach. So Juju did not know. No one knew about the coach.
But the report was out about them having to punish the coach, though.
No. The Ravens were the first one that said it. No, I mean, look, we can look this up, but like the Ravens tweeted at 6 o'clock. Juju's tweet was at like 1 o'clock, so it was 5 hours before.
My point is not even on the coach. My point was there was already the first positive test came on Monday. Right, that's when JK and Ingram and there's one more player, and then on Tuesday there were a couple more players, and then on Wednesday there were a couple more players, and at that point you're like, well, every day there's new positive case. Do you know to expect?
Right, but as I'm saying, like the 49ers had a very similar case where players kept testing positive. In fact, I believe it was the day before the game that they had to put Deebo Samuel on, or maybe it was Ayuk, one of the two wide receivers. They put them on reserve list the day before the game, and everyone's like, okay, well, you got to delay now. And then says, no, we're not delaying. We're not delaying.
There's two different.
Did they learn from that though? Hold on, wait, because like, was there?
This is look.
Because
Okay, so let me just say my piece here, because I agree with the game being moved, right? I am not upset that they moved the game, right? Obviously, at the time, I was saying things like, hey, why are we doing this different than the Niners? Obviously now, right, knowing that literally anyone on the team could have it because the guy was not wearing a mask, not wearing a tracking device, and did not report his symptoms. Well, okay, anyone on the team can have it now. You can't play until like the NFL is doing, until we have days of no positive tests. I agree with that. That's fine to me. Sunday, it's going to be Tuesday. Now, I know a lot of Steelers fans are pissed off about this idea that the game is going to be on Tuesday. The Steelers are going to have to play on Sunday against Washington the week after, but the Ravens game was moved to Monday. Unfortunately, the Steelers and Ravens have nothing to do with that. Fox has everything to do with that. Fox wanted the game on Monday, so it could be a primetime game. They don't want to put it right with their, the rest of their 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock schedule. So that's more to do with TV scheduling than anything else. I mean, they get the short end of the stick there. Yes, they have one less day to prepare for Washington, but not the biggest of deals. What I do not want to happen, what is going to upset me, and I understand we don't care about competitive balance in the NFL right now because we just want to get through a season, right? That's the whole point of this season. Just get through it. But
Week 18.
The one thing we cannot have is Week 18. You can't do Week 18 this year. And I know, listen, I know why Sonny wants Week 18. Listen, Sonny, scream and yell about Week 18 because the Ravens ain't making the playoffs unless they add a Week 18 and add an 18 to the playoffs, okay? So I know why the Ravens want this. Sean Harbaugh, like, we're shutting the building down. We're shutting the whole building down. Let's move this thing to Week 18, baby. Yeah, because the Ravens need Week 18 to get in the playoffs. Okay, and here's the thing. The Steelers.
Wait, breaking news.
Yeah.
Looks like the staffer was a Steeler infiltrator. Oh, there we go.
Well,
there we go.
Any excuses you guys gotta make? Any excuses you guys gotta make?
By the way, I see people in here accusing me of being a Ravens fan. No, there's 2 points.
You're a secret Ravens fan now too?
No. So
Ravens hater to Ravens fan.
I have already attacked the Pittsburgh Steelers fans and to players about how they were acting a little bit goofy. Okay, let me talk about the Ravens organization, which last year I thought was one of the best organizations in football, and this year has been an absolute clown show. It has started with Earl Thomas at the beginning of the season, getting cut, punching somebody. Like, it's been goofy since then. This organization, it's not the top flight organization it was last year. I mean, you got things from a mental standpoint, like allowing the Titans to dance on your logo and then humiliate you with how they beat you and just out physical you at the end of that game. You got your team not showing as much heart. And then you have something like this go down. Like, we made a lot of fuss about what the Titans should do with how they mismanaged this protocol. Nothing what the Titans did was as egregious as what the Ravens had going down in your building. And the ideal that Jim Harbaugh's a different clown show, but John Harbaugh had no idea his strength and conditioning coach was not wearing a mask, not wearing his contractation, not doing anything he's supposed to. One, if that's the case and you really don't know, you are incompetent at that point. You have lost institutional control. Like, that is a point to where if they awarded him a forfeit, I would definitely use it against Pittsburgh and say their season's illegitimate, but I would absolutely understand it because that's egregious. Like, a coach you have meetings with Like, this dude had to not be wearing his mask in the meeting, had to be obviously not eschewing these protocols, and had a level of comfort with it to the point to where he gave it to the whole team. The whole team had to know this. Everybody knew that this man did not have it. I'm not going to buy this ideal that nobody knew but the coach, that he was this secret operative not doing anything. And I'm not going to buy this idea that he was the only one. This is an indictment on the culture of what the Ravens allowed here. And this is why the Ravens, instead of being the class of the AFC like we thought they were going to be this year, are a team out here begging for an 8th seed, begging for a way to sliver in so they can live off 2012 and be like, this is going to be 2012 again, guys, so they don't miss the playoffs because they have been completely incompetent. This started with Lamar Jackson out there in the beach in Miami in the offseason when this thing was spiking up in the first place, just being irresponsible with the whole situation, and it's carried over, and it's no surprise that they're having the biggest problem with it. I understand that it's spiking up everywhere, and every team is having an issue with it, but to have a flaw as egregious as your strength coach just not doing nothing, and you're going to sit here and tell me it's just the strength coach? You haven't fired that guy yet? That tells me everything I need to know. I mean, this is a team that already got fined. John Harbaugh was screaming at a referee without a mask on early on. Don't tell me they cared about these protocols. They obviously have it all year, and now their quarterback has it. And one thing I want to talk about this virus that nobody talks about is people just think, hey, you get it 10 days later, you brush it off, and you're ready to go, and you're the same player you are. For a lot of people, that is the case. But keep your eyes on some people who have had it and not been the same since they had it. Cam Newton has not been the same since he's had this. Ezekiel Elliott has not been the same since he's had this. Some cases of this, I know, right? Some cases of this have make people have brain fog, which is terrible for a quarterback to have. Make people, just less of what they were, not as athletic, more tired quicker. And for a guy like Lamar Jackson, that's not good. He's asked to do RPOs and run a lot. This is something that could affect him for the rest of the season. It's not something that he's just going to come back off the list and be fine. I don't even expect Myles Garrett to come off the list and be Myles Garrett again. It's going to be a whole situation. So just think about that, Baltimore. Your incompetence, your coaching staff, which is supposed to be a top flight organization in a top flight league, is so incompetent they let the franchise get this virus. And now you'll know your franchise won't look the same, and he hasn't looked the same all season. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, this is just a complete, we talked about the Bengals bungling up a situation. Well, congratulations, Baltimore. You have done your first bungle of your organizational history. Y'all bungled this. Y'all really found a way to let the franchise, the MVP, this dude I have heard about. First of all, you don't surround him with enough talent. You don't surround him with the proper talent to do the right thing, to play the right offense. So he's looked bad all year. So people are just slandering him left and right. And then you're so incompetent, you can't get your strength coach to put on a mask? Are you serious? And then you give the franchise the Rona when you got Marquise Brown out here free, available to get it, and it ain't gonna cost you nothing? What is wrong with y'all? What is going on? Like, how are y'all doing this? And look, I'm joking about that. I don't wish the Rona on nobody because it can be serious. Like, it's a serious thing. But it's just it's obvious they didn't take it serious, and now they have to deal with it in the worst way possible. Congratulations, Baltimore Ravens. You are down there with Cincinnati right now. It's some of the most dysfunctional. It's at that point. It's this season. Y'all been dysfunctional. Y'all been dysfunctional. Okay. Tell me. What has been Ravens tier about anything this season of the typical? Like, what has been it? This has been dysfunctional. Well,
they keep losing big games. I mean, that's typical.
Losing big games. You keep 2 tight ends when you thrive off tight ends. That sounds like some Bengals stuff. And then you mismanage this whole situation to the point to where you've gotten a fine on the sidelines and your quarterback has it because your strength coach was out here not doing nothing and everybody's acting like they didn't see that? Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous.
This is why you can't have week 18, because again, it helps the Ravens and it punishes the Steelers. It could potentially help the Ravens get in, and it punishes the Steelers because the Steelers are supposed to have a bye week. Well, if we do the 18th week, you're gonna have an 8th team. Now there's no more bye week. In fact, every other playoff team gets a bye week except the Steelers. Again, that's why you cannot do week 18. Sorry, Ace, you should go.
No problem. Let me just ask someone, seriously, I'm gonna ask this panel. Did you guys really think that the Ravens were gonna beat the Steelers? Like, let's just say
No,
fully
no,
healthy.
no,
No one thought that. No one really thought that the Ravens were going to beat the Steelers. Honestly, this was the worst time for you guys to play them. I will say that from a Ravens historic standpoint, that Quincy is right. It's dysfunctional for the Ravens. It's not Bengals level dysfunctionality, but it definitely is dysfunctionality for the Ravens. I mean, we come off of hearing Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson take shots at each other. There's all kind of things happening. You talk about them before the game against the Titans, them getting into it on the field and stuff like that. Not Ravens like. We haven't seen that in the past. Usually the Ravens always have like this cool and confident demeanor, and that hasn't been the case this season. It seems that you guys were punched in the mouth and you're just kind of reeling right now. And I think the Steelers, as much as I hate the Steelers, they have been the complete opposite. They've been focused. They've been driven. They're obviously focused in these matchups that they have against any of the AFC North teams. And just looking at it, we kind of talk about football being a game of momentum. The Steelers had the momentum. The Browns right now were reeling and on the ropes. And I think that all of these positive tests and stuff right now, that just made it worse. So for me, like the way that things were handled, I understand it because obviously when you have staff members and people on the roster getting infected, it's going to hurt. But honestly, at the same time as well, if Lamar Jackson still wasn't playing this game on Tuesday, why didn't we just have the game on Thursday? I feel like that was the point that we didn't have this game on Thursday is because, and I know before they didn't say it, but we kind of all knew and figured there were whispers that Lamar Jackson, I think Tony even said it, he's handing the ball off to J.K. Dobbins and these guys that have tested positive. He has to have had this the whole time. So to me, it's just kind of silly because I feel like for me personally, the whole reason that you would postpone that is because Lamar Jackson, you're trying to wait for him to recover. He still hasn't recovered. So what's the point of even moving the game? And even with the healthy Lamar Jackson, I still feel like the Steelers would win. So I think for people saying, the Steelers fans and just the Steelers are being unfair in this situation, I think they felt that either way this would have went, they would have beat the Ravens. And so I think that the Steelers still beat the Ravens in this game. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be with RG3. I don't know if that changes the offense up a little bit. I don't know if that gives them a different look. I don't know if it's going to be completely uglier now because you're going to have Minkah Fitzpatrick in that defense attacking RG3. And the real issue for the Ravens this season has been that offensive line. Sonny's now relating to me even more so because the offensive line for the Ravens is it's mirroring the Bengals right now. It's not as bad, but it's still issues. It's still a reason why they're struggling. And obviously, when you're going against a Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line and that edge rusher is one of the best in the league, I mean, that's just going to kill you. So for me, I just got it as the Steelers winning. I understand the frustration that Baltimore is having, but sometimes you guys got to look yourself in the mirror and say, why did we lose that Patriots game? Because if you didn't lose that Patriots game, this conversation isn't even as bad.
Yeah, okay, they're going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. And also, Raven fans, I know how to hurt y'all real quick. Hold on, wait 1 second. I got one. I know how to make y'all see reality. Think about this. In 2020, the Cleveland Browns, I would say, have been a much more well-ran organization than the Baltimore Ravens.
Let's not get crazy.
And this year, when they fixed their offensive line, they've been trauma-free.
Hey.
Also, they got a better record. That can't feel great.
Okay, so let me say this. If we detach ourselves a little bit from all individual fan moments, for the Ravens, the only best outcome of all this, and I'll agree with Tony here, is if there is a Week 18 play for the Ravens. Any other outcome is bad. It's worse than just playing on Thursday for the Ravens. Now, this game couldn't be Thursday. Moving it to Tuesday is not great for the Ravens because how this 3 games was set up was Thursday and then another Thursday against a weaker opponent, although right now with all the players that we have testing positive, who knows? But how this game was set up, if we go by ace, that this game was going to be a loss, then you would chuck this loss, move forward to another Thursday game, and then you have a potential win in that Thursday game, and then you have more time to prepare for a game against an important team that is the Browns, right? An important matchup. So all those days get chunked for the Ravens. There's no practice this week. There's probably going to be very little practice the following week for the Ravens. So all of that stacks up into thinking, again, if you detach yourself, it is a worse situation for the Ravens. Now, if we go now to the specific game.
Is it worse for the Ravens or Steelers?
No, it is worse for the Ravens moving forward unless there's a week 18. Is my point.
How is it worse now for the Ravens than it is for the Steelers?
Because, as I said, Tony, if you shut this as an L, no matter what, how the Ravens' schedule was stacked up was inferior opponent on a Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And now getting moved to a Monday. And then the game that really mattered, season defining, because as I explained, I have a video out there if you guys want to go watch it, how the Ravens makes the playoff was losing to the Steelers and basically went out. So now you were playing the Cowboys on a Thursday, and then you were playing the Browns on a Monday. So you have extra time to prepare for the Browns. There's not that anymore. You play Monday. Plus, you have been basically short enough 2 weeks of no practice and a short week of practice for the Browns. So again, if just removing myself as a Ravens fan, just looking at it logically, the Steelers, at this point, they have the Ravens game will be a W, and then they play, again, an inferior opponent with Washington, and that should be a W as well. So I don't think this affects the Steelers as much as they affect the Ravens. Again, unless if there's a week 18, it is. Now, let's talk about the game for a moment. Look, if this game happens on Tuesday, the Ravens also, other than Lamar Jackson, other than their two top running backs, they just lost their center for the Steelers. They lost their backup center to the Steelers. They lost the right tackle to the Steelers. They lost the long snapper to the Steelers. The pass rusher per McPhee. And who knows? And then the other ones, I know you guys know. And then who knows if there's more to come. So this game is probably going to be played with every single person from the practice squad being brought up. And this should be a game that the Steelers win handily, right? As this team is constructed. If for some reason the Ravens pull this W on a Tuesday, well, I'm going to be here unbearable. And, I mean, I don't even know, because I cannot fathom how this team, the team that we're going to put out there, it's the same thing thinking that the Jaguars are going to beat the Browns, right? I don't see how that can happen. I don't see how the Ravens with this team that they're going to show up can beat the Steelers, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you have. Here's the question, though. How many of those players you talked about are on the list because they were in close contact? Because those players.
What I said were all positive.
Right. I mean, the list right now, like Ingram, Dobbins, Ricard is the running backs, McCarry, Skura, McPhee, Ward, right? Campbell, Williams, Madubuike. And then Morgan Cox, the other one. How many of those people are on the list because they are close contact versus?
My understanding is all of those are positive.
They have no close contact on the list? Because that's what I just read is the entire list as of 3 hours ago.
All those ones, my understanding.
They have no close contact. You know why they have no close contact? Because no one wears the tracing thing. So like,
No.
We haven't been near anybody.
I mean, like, you got to treat them like they got it now, right? If you don't have the tracing identity, right?
I was gonna say they probably had the whole team as like contact, like close contact, because the people that are testing positive, think about that
5 days.
Only Brandon Williams is close contact. That's what Engraven told us in the chat.
Only Brandon Williams. So they might get Brandon Williams back. Yeah.
Yeah,
because the Brandon Williams thing again, 5 days between.
Brandon Williams was not playing this game because he was hurt. Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. He was not playing this game because he's hurt.
Good.
So we had our entire D line right now is injured minus Wolf, right? Injured / COVID.
Yeah.
And your D line is on that. The O line that was decimated by injuries is also half of that in the C list. Half of the running back room, the top two are on the C list. Surprisingly,
you got Gus. You got Gus.
It's very ironic. No wide receiver has tested positive.
None of them hit the strength room. I mean, none of them.
It's not like they spend any time with Lamar. It's not like they spend.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews is also not tested positive. That's pretty much it.
Hollywood Brown is social distancing from the stat line, from the stat sheet.
Social distancing all season.
The Steelers, by the way, do have some players. They added some players to the list right before we started.
They
have 3 players.
But they're close contact.
Gerald Hawkins. We don't know. They have not said. So it's Gerald Hawkins, the backup tackle. Isaiah Buggs, the backup defensive lineman, and then Stephon Tuitt, who's the a great starter for them. Yeah. So one player who may miss. No, if those are close contact and they were as of yesterday, then there's 5 days would put them in line to play Tuesday. Otherwise, they will not. So that is something in this game. Look, the Steelers did lose this game in Week 17 last year. Two Gus Edwards at running back and two RG3 at quarterback. Yeah, but very different circumstance. Number one, the game was in Baltimore. Number two, Duck Hodges started at quarterback. Number three, that game had a sack fumble touchdown. Or no, it was a safety and a punt blocked for a touchdown. Or I guess it was a mishandled snap for a touchdown. There's so much weirdness in that game. Like Sonny said, there should be no reason the Steelers don't win this game. With the amount of injuries on the Ravens defensive line, I have to imagine the Steelers actually are going to want to come out in this game and use a little ground and pound on them just to keep the ball in their hands. Just grind it out. Your typical like Bill Cowher style of win. I could see that happening. But remember, this was the first version of this game was the original. I don't have the shed hat on me. It's too bad. The original let Ben cook game. That was the game where Ben literally said I was drawing it in the dirt for my wide receivers. He basically threw the playbook out in the second half and just said, I'm going to do it myself. So we'll see how much they want to throw the ball in this game as well. I think the safer thing to do, play defense, get a bunch of turnovers against RG3, and then just run the ball. Honestly, I know this sounds bad because the Ravens are still a good team. I know even without these guys, but this feels a lot to me like Browns, Jaguars, and I'm going to regret saying that on potentially a next week show, but we'll see. No, yeah,
no, RG3, ABC, 1, 2, 3, BW3s. Steelers are winning this game. Let's not make it.
This might be 1, 2, 3 Cancun games. The way the Ravens, this is not a team that has been playing with a ton of heart as of late. And they're playing on a bad week, and you don't have Lamar, who might be the one thing that gets you hope. And look, I like RG3. I think RG3 has turned himself into a nice mentor, nice person, a great dude, fun guy. But you know what? Nobody in the NFL is looking at RG3 feeling inspired. We're not looking at Gus Johnson like, hey, Gus, put us on your back, baby. This ain't the type of I find it like Kenneth Dixon gonna be back on the team. If y'all at that level, Dez Bryant might as well play quarterback, get some touches. I don't know.
Hey, let's be honest. This is not RG3 and the rest of the Ravens roster, right? If it was RG3 and the rest of the Ravens roster, then you can say, well, this should be a decent game, even though if you think the Steelers can win. This is a patch roster for this Tuesday. Right?
Go get Alex Collins or something like that. Go find where Alex Collins is at.
And Graven brings up a good point. Tony, who do you play next week?
Washington.
Oh, it's not a trap game in Graven. No, I was about to say go with that. It's not a trap game.
No, that's what I said. So for all that.
What is the super chat? Whose record means anything if they don't win the Super Bowl? Does anyone's record mean anything? Are we putting up banners for 12-4 in Cleveland that don't win the Super Bowl? What are we talking?
Okay, wait. So this is what I was saying about the schedule.
It don't mean nothing
for the Steelers. For the Steelers, I understand the inconvenience of playing Tuesday and Sunday. The reality is, if it was a Sunday they were playing the Titans, right, or the Colts, or
Buffalo. We got Buffalo left.
Buffalo, right? One of those teams. I can understand. Oh man, now we went from a long,
Washington's red hot. They're red hot right now.
Come on, man. For a mini
beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't know what I could do.
I'm looking forward to this. You want to get a hat to go with the shirt?
If Washington, why would I wear a Steelers hat if y'all lose to the team?
He buys the W.
Oh, you gotta get a Washington hat.
You should be able to. Unless you already burnt that hoodie, you can burn that Steelers hoodie.
I will burn it live on
AFC North Talk.
I'll burn my house down live.
I might cheer against the Steelers.
Nah, we got cell phones now. You can go outside.
Yeah, that's right.
StreamYard from that side. Flip the camera.
Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Get us to 3K. If we get to 3K and the Steelers lose to the team, I'll burn down my house live on TV. Right.
Not the house, the hoodie. Not the house. We not want to burn the house. We just want to burn the hoodie.
Nah, the Wi-Fi is gonna cut out halfway through, baby. We're doing this all right. You lose to the team, I gotta burn the house down.
The one thing I think that could go crazy and stir up even more drama is, let's say, just playing devil's advocate, RG3 goes out and balls out with like Hollywood Brown and those receivers. What do the Ravens say then?
Lamar hasn't thrown 300 all year, and RG3 throws for 300. Quarterback controversy. I would listen. I want the Steelers.
Are the Ravens wide receivers better without?
Yes, I want the Steelers to lose. I want them to lose. I want them to lose this way. I want RG3 to throw for 500 in this game. I want the Steelers to lose by 1,000, and we have a quarterback controversy in Baltimore. It's even better than the Steelers. My God, please. I want nothing more.
This was going to happen. If that happens, RG3 will start the next game against the boys. And then against the Browns, then we're going to have Lamar again. That's what's going to happen.
Well, he's going to deal really well with being benched because he deals so well with all these high pressure
situations. He's not being
benched.
He has to be. He won't play against the Cowboys. He cannot. None of these guys.
Wait, he might be back in time for the Cowboys. From it's 10 days, right?
It's 10 days.
He's not coming back after 10
I'm not again. I've already established I'm not great at math, but I will look at a calendar here and
the Cowboys.
Do simple addition.
J.K. Dobbins and Ingram can come back against the Cowboys. The rest of the guys that have been positive this week, they cannot. He's not
coming back.
Wait, no. He could because if he tested positive yesterday, right? Assuming that the test he got was yesterday's test, 10 days after that would be what? That would be the 5th, and your game would be the 7th. Monday, the 7th, right? Unless I have the days wrong here. Again, I'm not great at math, so doing math live on air, maybe not a great idea for me. We're gonna put more recordings out there of Tony not being able to do basic addition, but we'll see.
I don't know. Anyway, guys, I think this week it was pretty straightforward. Everybody's on the Browns. Everybody's on the Steelers. Everybody is on. No. Quincy picked the Bengals. The rest
picked the Bengals. Yeah.
The rest is New York.
The team that don't need to win that game is going to definitely win that game because I tell you, I know how terrible, I know how pathetic football goes. Like this is how it goes, baby.
But you know what? Even if we're decimated, I'll be waking up at 1 a.m. to watch.
That's right. Oh, you had it. That's right. They moved it to a 1 o'clock game for you, and then we got to back to prime time. Back to prime time. Yeah.
And we might break this. You know what? It's a perfect time to break that bad streak of prime time games lost, and I can't wait, man.
I'll be RG3. Go off.
They made it a prime time game too. Why? Why did they make this harder for the Ravens? Like y'all haven't won one all year.
Hey, I'll be terrible if we pull this dub. I'm just gonna tell you, you will not. You will have to mute me. You have to mute me.
It's the quarterback contract.
I don't know. Quincy might have been onto something with that Bengals Ravens parallel. Complaining about the offense, talking about how it's predictable, not showing up in big games, all these injuries, offensive line issues. I don't know. Quincy might have been onto something.
The Ravens are going to lose this game just like this. They're going to impressively
kneel down.
And then they're going to get an interception at the end of the game, run into the tunnel, celebrate, and then Gus Johnson will fumble the ball. And Big Ben will come off the sidelines after stretching with one arm and throw that thing down the field and beat him. Chase Claypool at the end of the game. They are going to be like, damn.
Ben Roethlisberger returns with an injured shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know when Big Ben's
injured. We're due for another fake Ben injury. We are.
Yeah, let Ben show up on the injury report. The Steelers might win by 40.
He must sit out half the second quarter. That's when you know.
He hurt his knee, guys. Yeah. He's motivated. He's ready to go.
Anyway, guys, we have over 300 people watching. Please make sure you hit that like button before we go, guys. Most of these games are Sunday. The Ravens-Steelers game's on Tuesday, so I'm going to tell you right now, our show might be changing, so this is why you have to hit that bell. So if we change, like yesterday from Thursday to Friday, you are alerted when we go live, okay? So saying that, Ace, where they can find you, bro?
You can find me here on the AFC North Talk. You can also find me on New Stripe City and also on Twitter at New Stripe City.
Tony.
You can find me on Twitter at Steeler Country. You can find me on Locked On Steelers every Tuesday with my friend Christopher Carter. And you can find me here every Tuesday and Thursday, 5:45 p.m. Eastern. I want to give a shout out to everyone who has subscribed to the channel already. We just hit 2,000 subscribers. So thank you to everyone who subscribed so far. And if you haven't, make sure you are subscribed, like Sonny said, so you can be notified when we go live.
That bell's important because YouTube doesn't alert you just for subscription. You have to hit that bell. Cute.
Hey, what's up, guys? You can find me on youtube.com/Quincy Carrier, also on Twitter @Quincy, also on twitch.tv/Quincy Carrier. I usually stream on Fridays, but since I'm doing this tonight, I ain't streaming today on Twitch. I'm streaming tomorrow. Check out the playoff run on Madden 21 there. It's going to be fun, and I might have to do some open challenges after that. You can also find me watching this game from the same vantage point that Hollywood Brown is. The bench. So
Might not be bench game.
because you know what, me and Hollywood Brown had the same number of receptions and yards last week. Y'all told me he was Tyreek Hill, and I know some of y'all asking, when's Quincy gonna let this go? It's been a long time since Tyreek Hill. It's been a long time since Tyreek Hill has been even worthy of having a name mimicking Tyreek Hill. And I'm gonna tell y'all, never. Y'all told me he was gonna be the next breakout wide receiver in the NFL. Y'all told me I'm a hater because I told y'all the truth about Tyreek Hill. Y'all told me Marquise Brown was better than Odell Beckham. Y'all made them videos. Y'all made them tweets. Y'all put them comments on my comment section. Y'all did this, so y'all gonna take it all season that this man has 400 yards. 400 yards. 400 yards. He is awful. All them boo-boo Smith-Schuster jokes y'all tried to make, he boo-booer. Juju the third option. He's more productive per catch than Boo-Boo Brown, than Hollywood. Holly no good. Just call him Marquise because he don't deserve a nickname. Tyreek Hill can't get open. Run a 4-3 but can't run past nobody. Can't get no break, no tackles. Can't get open. Can't catch a ball. What does this man have that's an asset at the wide receiver? He's Kwame Brown. That's who he is. Kwame Brown. He got small hands. He can't catch the ball. He can't get open. Even when he gets open, he can't finish. He can't break a tackle. He's too small. He's 185 pounds. He can't get in the post. He's Kwame Brown. So everybody in there that is asking me why have I not letting this go? Oh, y'all gonna hear about this until he off the team because y'all made them John Ross jokes. Y'all made them Odell Beckham jokes. Y'all made all them jokes all season. All them Browns jokes while y'all was simultaneously pumping up this man's Instagram and showing me all these footages of him beating dudes in camp. Yeah, just showing it off like, oh my God, Marquise Brown, he gonna be a dog. And every time I told y'all, don't think so. Don't really see it. Them routes look slow. Y'all called me a hater. But look at him running them slow routes in the NFL, not getting open. Look like Ace Boogie can go out there, not stretch. And he's like in his 30s and still shut down Marquise Brown. Who does y'all remember when Sonny tried to tell me at the beginning of the season? Remember, he was like, no, not even the hot take. I ain't gonna flame that one. You were like, hey man, but here's the problem with this team that's playing the Ravens. What are they going to do about Marquise Brown? And I told y'all, don't nobody be like, what we going to do about Marquise Brown? What Marquise Brown going to do about Marquise Brown? Nothing. He putting up Dante Moncrief numbers. He ain't doing nothing. So, no, I ain't letting this Marquise Brown thing. You're not letting it go. I will give you that. No, okay. He look like Antonio Brown divided by 10. Like, he's not good. He's trash. Y'all need to get rid of him. Y'all need to trade for John Ross because maybe he could do what y'all want him to do because John Ross actually runs routes. He don't finish them, but at least he runs them. You know what I mean? So shout out to the first one. Shout out to Marquise Brown. I know you're gonna do me good. You're gonna get about 10 yards, maybe over under at 10 yards, maybe 2 receptions, maybe you might get a touchdown, but you've been trash all season, and everybody thought that Marquise Brown was about to blow the league up. What? Told me Marquise Brown better than Jarvis Landry and Odell. Yeah. Your best wide receiver still Willie Snead. How is that possible? Y'all told me Ava DuVernay, or not Ava DuVernay, or the DuVernay dude was about to blow up. Oh, come on. Miles Boykin. Remember Miles Boykin? He need to go to tight end. You going to blow up at tight end? What's happening? What's going on? What happened to these young fellas? They out here looking like Brown wide receivers. Y'all might as well sign Josh Gordon and Dez Bryant and just have the all-time.
Josh Gordon would be a great addition, actually.
He would be your best receiver.
Would be a perfect addition.
He would legitimately be your best receiver instantly. The man hasn't played in 3 years. The man hasn't played football in 3 years. Ace, bro, start stretching, start going to get some cardio in, because I think you can make the team. Because you know what? You might not be as fast as Hollywood Brown, but I think you run better routes. You know what, Flemlo, if you're watching, Flemlo, you 6'3", you got good size. I think you run better routes than Hollywood Brown. You should try out for the team, dog. Anybody can make that team. Look, y'all got worse wide receivers than the other team in Maryland, which is the team. And you know what? At least the team might actually make the playoffs this year. All right, I'm done. I'm signing out.
Okay, you can find me at SZG Sports everywhere. Let's get out, guys.
Peace.
Had to ride on them Ravens real quick.
Are you listening? Damn.